Welcome back to Casey Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice and digital resource helping organizations survive and thrive. We want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Been a great partner, and we hope to continue. We are back learning about a great program that the Chamber of Commerce does, and that's the Centurions Leadership Program. And we have the good fortune of having Leanne Breiby with us.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
In the Centurions class, and she's also the communications director for the Greater Kansas City Community Foundation. So we get a double whammy with you.
Yeah,
Wow.
I stay busy.
You sure do. Well, I'm so glad you could find some time for us and share with us a little bit about the Centurions program.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Give us all the skinny on what this robust leadership program is about.
Yeah, we are, as you mentioned, a program of the KC Chamber, the Greater Kansas City Chamber, and the program has been in existence for 43 years, and it's arguably one of the best leadership programs in the country. It's essentially, you can think of it as a 2-year program, a master's degree in Kansas City.
So it's like a master's degree in leadership. Business leadership?
In just learning about what Kansas City is, what our history, what issues we're facing. Okay. And then as Centurions, how we can apply ourselves to make our community a better place for all.
Oh, wow. Okay. Because this is all new to me. I knew about the Centurions program.
In terms of being out and about.
But yeah, I didn't know exactly what was going on. And I knew they did a lot of, that program did a lot of good in Kansas City. So, I mean.
Yeah.
So how did you get into the program?
So I applied, and
it's an application process.
Yes,
then.
It's
It
an
isn't just we
application
choose you and we choose you.
Yeah,
we take like a test or something.
There's a pretty strenuous application.
Oh, okay.
It's some tough questions about issues that you see Kansas City struggling with, and maybe strengths that Kansas City has, and then also your own experience as a volunteer in your personal life, and then professionally in a leadership position in some way in your professional world.
No, is there like an age bracket? How does that work?
Not technically. Typically our class, if you look at it, we're mostly kind of 30s or early 40s, I would say. The Chamber has a great program for young professionals called Gen KC. So once they graduate from Gen KC, usually they kind of move into Centurions.
So what happens after Centurions? Like, what is there like a 45 and up? Or
well, there is an alumni group.
Okay.
So once you're a Centurion, you never really leave.
Once you're part of us, you never get to leave.
And we involve alumni. The active Centurions are able to involve alumni in a lot of volunteering. There's social opportunities. We have a trivia competition every year. And
awesome.
So there's definitely ways to stay engaged.
Well, our millennial maven, Katie Lord.
Yes. She is a
Centurion. Is she in your class?
Yes, she is in my class.
And you guys are in year 1 or year 2?
We are in year 2. So we will finish our time as Centurions at the end of January.
Is there like a big ceremony and you cap and gown? Or like
no cap and gown, but we do have a graduation ceremony and kind of celebrate and look back at everything we did. We name a Centurion of the Year. Okay. We vote on that, and we vote on what's called a Task Force of the Year, which is an integral part of the program, in that we take one day out of every month to learn about a specific topic in Kansas City, and we take a really deep dive. It's almost like a grown-up field trip. And so we've covered education. On Friday we'll cover immigration and international impact in Kansas City.
What's the coolest thing that you've learned about Kansas City in this whole program?
Oh gosh, that's a tough question.
Or what's affected you the most? I mean, it seems like everybody gets to do a lot of cool things, and you learn a lot about Kansas City and what happens infrastructurally and societally. You're like, what is something you're like, this is what's going on. This is hot in Kansas City. This is a huge issue or something cool that.
Yeah, well, and there's so much, but just looking back recently, we had our task force on education, and we looked at, we had Show Me KC Schools come and talk about the application process that they've been able to streamline, and just all of the options with public and charter and private, and just really explore the educational landscape in in Kansas City. And then, I mean, we had even Elmo showed up,
Oh,
and Elmo flew in from New York to hang out with us.
Yeah.
It was the coolest.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Sesame Street's doing something here in Kansas City over the last couple of years, right?
Oh,
With
yeah.
their programs. They did something with the children's place. And
Yeah, they have a great programming for pre-K. So, and that was another topic we covered that day. We had a panel that talked about pre-K in Kansas City and, how we just need to fund it more.
Yeah.
And I mean, but that's just one day. I mean, every day you take away so much. I'm really looking forward to the day we have on immigration that's coming up. We'll start at East High School, which is a super diverse high school in town, and we'll hear from students that are English is their second language, and they'll teach us a lesson in their native language and
cool.
kind of give us the experience of what it takes to be in that environment where you're hearing information that you don't necessarily understand. We'll have American Public Square with us to help us have kind of a civil discourse on some
You've
issues
had them on
around
the show?
immigration. Nice. Yeah. So that's just, that's just another day. There's so many. So
You're applying for this. Was this something that your organization said you should go do, or was this something you wanted to do, or was it a mixture of both?
I'd say both. I had known about Centurions for many years. At the Community Foundation, my CEO is Debbie Wilkerson, and she was asked to speak on a panel way back at one of the Centurions retreats. That's how we kick off the years. We have a 3-day retreat. And so I helped, as the communications director, I helped prep Debbie for that panel role. And
oh my gosh, you were on both ends.
Yeah, and I thought this is a great group. I need to get involved. And so knowing that there is a very significant time commitment, I needed to make sure it was the right time for me personally and professionally to carve out this time to really immerse myself in the program.
How big is your class?
We are about 70
Wow.
there's actually 2 cohorts of Centurions. There's the spring cohort, which I'm a part of, and there's 70 of us. And then there's, I think, a little over 80 in the fall cohort. And so, yeah.
Give us a little flavor of your group. Where are your classmates, your fellow Centurions coming from?
Well, we really try in the application process to make sure that we are recruiting a diverse group of individuals, as far as geographically, also industry-wise. So we have lots of nonprofits represented, and then lots of for-profits as well, from architects to insurance professionals, bankers, attorneys. We really run the gamut as far as kind of a slice of Kansas City's professional world.
How did nonprofits then get before the group?
As far as application
to say, hey, yeah, Centurions, we'd love to come and tell you about what we do and why we're significant in Kansas City, or consider us as a project.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have requirements for volunteer hours. And so, so each year, Centurions are required to spend 20 hours volunteering at Centurions-sanctioned volunteer events. So on the website, centurions.org, there is a link where nonprofits can go to fill out a form and get their volunteer opportunity in the queue. So, and I mean, the 20-hour requirement is definitely a minimum. I'd say it was a personal goal of mine and many others to hit 100 hours over our 2 years in the program.
Okay.
And there's quite a few. We actually have some who hit 100 hours in 1 year. There are, that's, definitely a major part. There's actually 3 tenets of the program: learn, serve, and lead. So learn is, as I mentioned, the task force is everything that we're hearing. Serve is really the volunteer projects that we do. And then there's a great opportunity for nonprofits. It's our legacy project. So the legacy project is special, and it's one project that we are all required to spend at least 3 hours a year volunteering for. And this year we have we selected KVC Niles as our legacy project, and we spent time rehabbing their therapeutic garden. We built a hoop house so that they'd have an indoor area where the children that they serve can go and enjoy that therapeutic gardening year round. And next up, we have Synergy Services. So we're going to be rehabbing their residences. It's just fantastic.
So it's
awesome.
really sweat equity.
Yeah.
It is.
You're actually out there doing something, getting
Which
Yeah.
is so cool. If people are interested, they should go to centurions.org.
Centurions.org. Yes, we are accepting applications for the next spring cohort class now. That application deadline is February 1st. We also have an upcoming information session January 16th in the morning at the Chamber Boardroom. So if somebody wants to learn more, they can go to that. And then we have an application workshop that's coming up on January 28th. So if someone is interested and they're working on getting that application together and they might need a few more tips a few days before it's due, we have that available. And all of that information is at centurions.org.
Now, you will then become part of the CAA, the Centurions Alumni Association.
Yes, I
Not
will.
the big conglomerate that books celebrities. We have our own celebrity organization, right? Your alumni group is even
Oh, it's fantastic.
crazily busy. So what do you hear about that? And I guess what are you looking forward to in becoming part of that new group?
Yes, definitely. Well, as I mentioned, there's something new we're building into the program now is the cooperation between the alumni group and the actives specifically for the Legacy Project.
program. Right.
So the fall cohort, their Legacy Project is Happy Bottoms, and they are rehabbing some of the Happy Bottoms new headquarters. And I've heard from alumni and actives both that they really enjoy that, working together, kind of still staying connected. And then the network of Centurions is great for board service. So I look forward, after I finish my time as an active Centurion, finding a great board where I can really use my expertise and energy and find a slice of Kansas City that I want to improve.
So does the Centurion organization or the chamber kind of give you a menu of boards that are open?
Yeah,
Or
they
how does
do.
it
They
work?
actually work with Nonprofit Connect and Nonprofit Connect's board link. So we get as Centurions, we receive a newsletter once a week, and that lists open board positions that are actively seeking board members. So it's a great way to, and not to mention just all of the alumni of Centurions that are on boards or leading nonprofits, and can get us connected that way.
You found this experience. How? Fill in the blank.
I have found this experience the most worthwhile thing I've ever done for myself, and probably
That's
one of the
cool.
hardest. But
Wow.
it's a lot of time, a lot of energy. But I can't think of any better way to have spent the last 2 years.
But don't they always say that, though? The hardest stuff is the most rewarding. I mean, if it's easy, it's not worth it.
Exactly. Yeah. The cliche, you get in what you put into it,
Yeah.
or you get out what you put into it. And that's definitely true for Centurions.
And I would imagine you make some great connections with people
Yeah,
maybe
that's
you
gonna
wouldn't
say, wow.
otherwise
Oh, that's
connect
the
with.
best part, if I'm being honest, is the camaraderie that you have all going through this when you're sweating together, volunteering together, and you plan all of these. Any experience that happens in Centurions is planned by Centurions. So that's a lot of work outside of just the normal programming, is putting all of this together so that we can really have a robust experience.
So the chamber kind of gives the platform and the resource.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, they support their staff support. The chamber's amazing, and but they really kind of want it to be our own program. So we have parameters and guardrails that we stick with, but we bring our creativity and make it our own experience.
That's tremendous.
That's
So
awesome.
it's centurions.org if folks want to find out about what you've been doing, if they'd like to serve, connecting to see if, I think you even will volunteer for
Yeah.
organizations if they need volunteer help. Just an amazing, amazing thing. I know we were down at the downtown library for a show, and you all were observing an naturalization ceremony.
Yes, and that was in preparation for our day about immigration, so that we could have that experience going into a full day of learning what immigration in Kansas City looks like.
So what was your takeaway from that? Because we watched too.
Oh, it was really emotional. I was so excited for all of these new, Americans to come in, and I couldn't believe how big it was and the number of countries that were represented.
Wasn't that amazing?
Right? Oh, wow. That was a highlight of my experience, definitely.
And the library folks in the RISE program that they do to help potential new Americans study for their test. I mean, it's a robust test.
Yeah. And the kind of oath that they give was
very
more intense
serious
than I expected.
And very touching. If
yes.
you know, how many Americans have listened to that oath? I mean, we take kind of for granted, and seeing all these wonderful, the mix and array of faces taking that oath and saying, this is where I want to live and I want to be part of and consider myself a citizen. So it was great to hear your take on that.
Oh, yeah, it was beautiful.
And what a cool thing that you got to experience it.
Yeah, and all thanks to Centurions. It was down the street from my office, but I wouldn't have known it was happening otherwise.
Well, I'm sure your boss is glad to kind of have you back a little bit after the first of the year,
yes.
and helping do all the great things at the Greater Kansas City Community Foundation, which is another fabulous resource in our community. Yeah. Check out the foundation, because you guys can help nonprofits as well.
Oh, yes.
Try to see where there's potential support and funding. Leanne, thanks for being here. I know you're always on the other end, so this has been fun.
This is fun. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.